You're posting a joke online. Just a random joke. The kind of thing you've posted hundreds of times before. You upload a photo, write a caption, hit post. Your friends laugh. A few people leave comments. Then you put your phone away and go to sleep. The next morning, you board a bus. And by the following day, people are sharing that same post across the internet. Not because it's funny, but because it suddenly feels like a warning. A prediction. Or maybe something else. Tonight, we are going to talk about Tado and the post that people still talk about years later. Welcome to the podcast You Can't Unhear. February 7th, 2014. A comedian named Tado uploaded a photograph to Instagram. At first glance, it looked harmless. He was lying down while makeup was being applied to his face. The image itself wasn't unusual. After all, he worked in entertainment. Photos like this were part of the job. But it was the caption that caught people's attention later. A simple joke. Just a few words. North or south? Cemetery? At the time, nobody thought much about it. Why would they? It was Tado. Humor was what he did. His real name was Arvin Impuesto Jimenez, though most Filipinos knew him simply as Tado. The nickname came from tarantado, a word often used to describe somebody foolish, crazy, ridiculous. And that's exactly the energy he brought to television and radio. He wasn't the polished celebrity type. People liked him because he felt real, unfiltered, different. Many knew him from Strange Brew. Others knew him from Brew Rats. But comedy was only part of who he was. He worked all kinds of jobs throughout his life. Waiter, scriptwriter, photojournalist, mental health worker. He earned a psychology degree, ran for local office, joined social causes, supported labour movements, worked with activist groups. The more people knew him, the more they realised he wasn't just trying to entertain people. He genuinely cared about the world around him. And in February 2014, he was preparing for another journey. One of Tado's biggest personal goals was something called the 40 Mountains Project. The idea was simple. Before turning 40 years old, he wanted to climb 40 mountains. Not for fame, not for sponsorships. Because he loved nature, loved adventure, loved the challenge. The project carried a slogan: "Life begins at the mountain." A beautiful phrase, one that would later become heartbreakingly ironic, because the trip he was taking that weekend was connected to that project. And it would be his last. February 8th. The bus left early, heading toward Bontoc in Mountain Province. There were around 45 passengers on board. Artists, families, travellers. People heading home. People beginning adventures. People making plans for the future. The road into the mountains was beautiful, but dangerous. Steep slopes, sharp turns, deep ravines. One mistake can be fatal. Around 7 in the morning, survivors began noticing something strange. A smell. Burning rubber. At first, it was faint, then stronger. One passenger named Dino Dimar was seated close to the front. He noticed the driver seemed worried. The driver kept adjusting things, checking controls, trying to fix something. And then, the bus started gaining speed. Imagine sitting on a bus. At first, everything feels normal. Then you realize the vehicle isn't slowing down. The curves are coming faster. The engine sounds different. The driver looks panicked. And suddenly, everyone knows something is wrong. According to survivors, the conductor realized it too. And then something happened that passengers would never forget. The conductor jumped out of the moving bus. Imagine seeing that. The person responsible for passenger safety abandoning the vehicle. At that moment, people knew this wasn't a small problem anymore. The bus continued accelerating. The driver reportedly tried everything. Some survivors believed he was attempting to steer the vehicle into a ditch, trying to stop it, trying to slow it down, trying to avoid the ravine. But the speed was too great. And then, the road disappeared. The bus left the roadway and plunged. 100, maybe 120 meters. Imagine a building. Then imagine falling from roughly half its height. Inside a bus, surrounded by screaming passengers. Metal twisting. Glass exploding. Bodies thrown through the air. The vehicle tumbled into the ravine, rolling, crushing, breaking apart. The roof tore away. Passengers were thrown from their seats, thrown into each other, thrown into metal, thrown into darkness. Some survivors later described hearing prayers. Others remembered screams. Some remembered nothing at all. When Dino regained consciousness, he was lying on the floor of the wreckage. His entire body hurt. He couldn't feel his left leg. Around him, people were crying for help. Others weren't moving. The ravine was so remote that rescuers faced enormous challenges reaching victims. Some responders crossed rivers, climbed steep terrain, searched twisted wreckage, not knowing who was alive and who wasn't. By the end, 14 people had lost their lives. More than 30 others were injured, many severely. Among the dead was Tado. And that's when people remembered the Instagram photo. The one from the day before. The makeup, the pose, the caption. North or south? Cemetery? Suddenly, people started sharing screenshots. Comment sections filled with speculation. Some called it a coincidence. Others called it a premonition. And honestly, I think that's why this story still gets told. Not because of the post itself, but because of timing. If he had lived another 20 years, nobody would remember that caption. It would have been just another joke, lost among thousands of others. Instead, it became the final post before tragedy. And that changes how people see it. Today, many people remember Tado for the eerie Instagram post. that I think the people who knew him best remember something else. The causes he supported, the people he inspired, the mountains he wanted to climb. Because in the end, the tragedy wasn't the caption. The tragedy was that a journey connected to something called Life Begins at the Mountain became the place where his story ended. And maybe that's why one piece of graffiti appeared near the bus terminal afterward. A simple message. Every bus is a bus full of dreamers. That's probably the part of this story I can't stop thinking about. Have a good night, guys. And I'll see you on the next episode of the podcast You Can't Unhear.